Very good evening to you. Thanks for joining us on the Friday edition of the show. I'm Yemi Adebayo. Well, on the show tonight, we will be talking about the Nigeria Premier Football League. We're going to be talking about matches to be played, of course, over the weekend and in the coming week. We'll look at the aftermath of the UEFA Europa League, UEFA Champions League, and all the other important stories happening in your fast-paced and, of course, rewarding, money-spinning world of sports. My colleague Austin Okonakpan will join us in a bit. Before he does that, let me quickly introduce our guest in the Lagos studio. Dr. Angubiade joins us now. Greetings to you, Dr. Thanks for finding out time to be with us on the show.
Yeah, good evening. Yeah, Yemi. Like you said the other time about the big games that will be going down during the weekend, talking about the English Premier League and as well the Nigerian Professional Premier Football League.
All right, but let's start different. A lot of questions have been asked about, the vacant managerial positions in Nigeria, especially with the national teams. And of course, there's been a swift response. It has been announced that Nigeria Football Federation has appointed Garba as the coach of the Golden Eaglets. I mean, he needs little or no introduction at all. And although a lot of people still question what you can't judge an appointment unless you understand, okay, what is your objective with that? But it's a good move. This is somebody who has achieved a lot when it comes to age-grade football in Nigeria.
You are 100% correct. If you take a look at this man, he won the Nigerian under-17 national team, the 4th title in history in 2013. And if you look at what he has been able to do with all the age-grade teams, you can see that he has been a success. And if he's been appointed this time around, I would say yes to NFF because he actually understands that.
Let me just quickly run through, because I know that's what you want to do. Let me run through what our viewers have seen on screen, which is the CV of the man. You just talked about 2013, but let's fast forward to 2007. He was part of that squad that won with the late Yemi Tella. He was part of that coaching crew. A lot of people give him credit for some of the job he did when the man wasn't around, and sometimes when he had to receive treatment and all that. So there you have 2007 there. Then you go back to the competition that qualified them to win the World Cup, come down to 2013, come down to them winning. And of course, as they won, they're always winning the competition that takes them to the World Cup. Let's not also forget that he graduated with his squad that won the under-17, graduated with them to the under-20. A lot was expected from that team. It didn't happen the way a lot of people expected, but at least they got to the second round at the under-20 World Cup. It was a team that had a lot of stars, and so he has a rich pedigree when you're looking at what he has been able to achieve with age-grade football in Nigeria. So I just had to quickly reel that out for our viewers that are seeing that on the screen. And so let me come back to you, Dotun. You cannot say if it is the CV alone, good appointment. Yeah. But then you always want to judge an appointment or measure, can't use the word judge, measure the appropriateness, quote and unquote, because you are not the man's employer, by the set objective, which in this case is to qualify for to the best of my knowledge,
of course,
qualify the team for the World Cup, go all the way if you can. Nothing more than that.
Yeah, of course, you actually said something that caught my fancy. If you take a vivid look at it, when it comes to appointment, you have to take a look at the antecedents or the pedigree or the record honed by the person you are given a job. And for Manu Garba, in all sense, in all reality, he qualified for this particular appointment. But sometimes when you actually take a look at the recent performance or recent form of that particular manager, you can actually use that as a yardstick sometimes to actually measure. I want to use your word, not judge, at this particular time. But if you look at it very well, with what he has been able to do with the under-17 national team, I would call him a success. And if he's been appointed to actually lead the team, I will also say yes to it. But sometimes football is not about 1, 2, 3, which is my common say that you know that the next thing what will happen next is 3. But for what he has been able to do, he's a success. And for the appointment, the objective and what have you, I would say that let us see what he can actually bring to the table. It is not a do or die affair. He's meant to actually spot talent, nurture them, and give them the platform to actually become a big star, like he has done in the past. Somebody like Kelechi Iheanacho, Taiwo Awoniyi of this world, they are among the stars that he did discover, and look at what they are doing at the world stage. They are doing wonderfully well for themselves and for the Nigerian national team.
All right, that is so very true. All right, my colleague Austin Okonakman is ready now. Greetings to you, Austin. It's another time to talk sports.
Sport greetings to you, Yemi, and Dr. in the studio, and of course everyone joining us on the show tonight. Still an action-packed world of sports. Let me jump right into the conversation on the appointment of Coach Manu Garba as coach of the Golden Eaglets. Yes, I like it because now it shows that the NFF knows we're watching, and as media, we're watchdog to the society. I remember I asked Amaju Pinnick that question 2 days ago when I met with him, and now I'm hearing of disappointment. But why did we leave it till now? That's the question. See, when you're dealing with age grade, it requires proper attention. They will say, oh, now we have appointed a coach and Austin has a problem with it. Yes, the Waffle B tournament is next month in Ghana. And now countries are beginning to not catch up, show Nigeria how we can do it at the age grade level where we used to bust. So how much time does Manu Garba have to scout players, to put them together and go for that competition next month? This is the problem. This same old same fire brigade approach, this same old same let's just do it, irrespective of how you do it. It's not about just doing it, it's doing it right. This is the under-17. This is the foundation. This is the base. This is where you test them to see that they are ready. Some players get called up to the senior men's national team at 16. Some people sign professional contracts these days with top clubs in Europe at 15. Yes, I agree with doing work with the future Eagles, but we know Nigeria. They will call 1,000 people now, gather them at MK Abiola Stadium and say they want to put together a team called the Golden Eaglets. It's wrong. Coach Manu Garba, or whoever you wanted to be appointed to as under-17 coach, should have been on ground ever since, working, putting these guys together, because they don't play regular football like the other guys. So they need to be kept together, conditioned properly, and know themselves so that they can have that team blend and understanding to go out to play football. Now they want us to just come and say, okay, they said there was no coach before, now there's a coach. Why are you appointing a coach now when there is Waffle B tournament next month? That is a proper qualifier to the other 17 AFCON, Yemi. These are the issues.
Yeah, these are the issues. That's why I said sometimes before you decide the appropriateness of a decision, you have to really understand the objectives. What you have said is the fit and proper thing to do. But then those who are making the appointments, what do they actually want? Because you see, I want us to leave this matter, but let me allow Dr. to say something. Sometimes you think this is how something should be. But then the people who are in charge may have other things. Maybe to them, just let's go and see if we can qualify. And if we don't qualify, I beg your pardon, then let's wait for another 2 years. It appears to me that that's what the game is now. And just like Gossip pointed out, it's increasingly getting difficult for us to qualify. You could close your eyes before, but with this Waffle B stuff that they've started doing, and then you go to the AFCON, sometimes it's over before it begins for us in most cases.
Yeah, if you actually look at it very well, you know, it is a common saying that early to bed, it's early to rise. When you actually do the right thing, you get the right result. And you can't keep doing same thing, same way, and you expect different result. And if you look over the year, it has been our heart cry that the management of Nigerian football, actually talking about the Nigerian Football Federation, have not been doing the right thing. A whole lot of persons have actually come to heap praises on them for one or two or two things appointed or what have you. But in real sense, we've actually seen over the years that we have not been up and doing when it comes to proper management. Like you just said, talking about venturing into tournaments with hope of maybe we qualify. And it seems difficult qualifying for tournaments, unlike before, that we have to play qualifying series separately, but now you have to play through the WAFU B, going into the Nations Cup, and actually qualify for the World Cup. Unlike what we do see before, but that is how it is now. See the qualifying series to the World Cup that we were seeing, we will be unable to actually get even to the semi-final and to the final. Says we can actually not qualify. But what we can do is to always do the right thing and the right time. Do what needs to be done. Then after that, you look out for the best result. Look at what we've been able to achieve when it comes to football in the past years. We did wonderfully well when it comes to management. But when we actually started planning when we stop planning, then we start planning to fail.
And let me just butt in and allow Austin lend his voice to it. It's becoming increasingly difficult. And why it's really sad, the best chance of getting new players, apart from the domestic league, the best chance of getting new players into the senior national team are these competitions. The best chance of discovering these new tournaments. So once you fail to qualify, everybody forgets about, or you don't do well, everybody forgets about that team, then you're stuck. Then our only channel in the last 6 years has been begging people who have dual nationality to come and play for Nigeria. And in most cases, those who are going to beg, you are not their first choice. You were never their first choice. It was because they couldn't get to play for the countries they wanted to, in most cases. Not all, there are a few exceptions, but in most cases. So we are going to be stuck with begging players who, I mean, have dual nationality or somehow have a Nigerian name in there. This is serious now. It's not just about, we have to be serious with whatever we want to do with these age grade competitions. And we're not just saying it just because, okay, they appointed coach. Just like you said, they have appointed coach. Is that not enough for you? No. It's the approach should be a whole lot different than what we are doing if we are serious with football. And we've even said that football is beyond just national teams. But even if it is national teams that you want to do, please do it well.
That's what it is here. I mean, you know, because that's the core part of the production process. I was asking you the other day on the show, in the last 6 years, tell me one young player that we've had to monitor from the under 17 or 20 and say, this is Super Eagles prospect. Tell me one. None. None. And this has never happened in our football. From under 17, we will see the guy grow to 20, and we'll be saying that, no, this one, you don't have to tell. From the time Awoni, Kelechi, and Achosted, we could easily, we picked names. And we said, these guys are going to make it to the Super Eagles. Actually, they're playing in the Super Eagles, you know. But in the last 5 years, tell me, none, because we disregarded that production process. And that's why countries like Uganda, Mali, when they meet us at the under 20 level now, Tanzania, we struggle to beat them, you know, because those guys are working. I told you this beautiful story of what Zambia seems to be doing with their women's football. We can see it working. You can see some countries in Africa, they are looking at Nigeria and they're saying, because Nigeria isn't doing what we know them to be doing back in the day, then we must find a way to, you know, start doing those things that they were doing so that it will be difficult. And with this WAFU B now, they just need to put you with Ghana in the same group, and next thing you're not qualified for a major competition. That's where we are now. I'm not saying, I don't have anything against Coach Manu Garba, though coaching is also changing. There are new trends in coaching. Technology is being introduced. Science is being introduced. Working with these young talents in collaboration with their parents, their schools, is also part of what makes them grow into that solid, complete footballer that you want. That's what we see here in Europe that we admire. That's why you see young players in Europe and all the longevity that they get to enjoy. How old is Phil Foden? 20. Look at the sort of football he's playing. So you close and open your eyes, you still see Phil Foden for 10 more years. We've been talking about Lionel Messi and Cristiano Ronaldo for almost forever now. That's because they were scouted early enough, placed in the right environment, went through the right conditioning, and they're still playing right football. Now, you just checked it. The media, they've started talking. We don't have a team. Wafubi is coming up next week. Okay, next month. What do we do? First, we need a coach. That's not the first thing you need. First, you need systems in place. You need structures in place that you would have just gone to, and easily you could just get football out of it. That's what Morocco is doing. They've put in place systems that is producing talent, young talent, every day. And that's why they will never be in our situation. I mean, it's quite sad, but this is what it is. You will see Nigeria will compete at the WAFU B, and that's why someone will think that there's no problem. There is a lot of problem. What are your set out objectives, as we mentioned? If it's a proper project you're doing, what's your execution plan after you've achieved those projects, those set objectives? What is your milestone? What do you want to say right after this competition? We have achieved this now. Next stage in this project, we pause, we review it, and we move further. None. They just want to play football. And that's why we are where we are.
Really sad. Okay, let's move on now, because we'll go on and on if we're talking about the national teams. Let's go on and talk about Nigeria Premier Football League. Let's take a look at matches to be played this weekend and in the coming week. Interesting matches to be played. And, of course, we'll talk about what's likely going to happen in those matches. I'll go across now and quickly take a look at some of those matches. All right, starting from Sunday, Enugu Rangers will take on Abia Warriors. Then you have the Bay Elephants. Imba will take on Heartland FC. I mean, you know what it is with these matches. You know the name is called. Interesting matches that will be played. Let's flip quickly because of time. Let's look at what's going to happen on Tuesday. Group of matches to be played. Aqua United take on Niger Tornadoes. Bayelsa United take on Katsina United. Vendel Insurance will take on Kano Pillars. Doma United will take on Remo Stars. Very interesting matches that will be played in that one. Gobe United up against Kwara United. Rivers United, of course, they're out of the CAF Confederation Cup. They're up against Plateau United. They need to start getting points if they want to return to the continent. Shooting Stars will be playing at home against Lobby Stars. Sporting Lagos will be up against Sunshine Stars. That's a proper Southwest derby. All right. So those are the matches to be played. Also, before we go on a break, if you can quickly, which one of these games do you want to talk about?
Yeah, the rental derby seems to be, good fixture for us because Aimba, they're still looking at ways to, get back to proper reckoning on the table, talking about the top of the league, because at the moment it's Rangers with 51 points, Lobby Stars tied in 51 points, second. Out of these 4 teams playing in the Oriental Derby, this match, the 30, I think it was only Aimba and Rangers suffered defeats in their last games. Rangers lost at Katsina United 4-3, and that loss was very annoying to Coach Fidelis Inechukwu. In fact, he slammed his team that there's no way you go away from home and you score 3 goals and concede 4. Because they lost that game 4-3, while Lobby Stars did just enough to beat Aimba by a single goal. Heartland shocked us by beating Sporting Lagos by 3-1. Now, Aimba will be taking on Heartland, and Heartland have been anything short of impressive this season. But this is the Oriental Derby. This is where bragging rights, in that region, comes into play. So let's see what Heartland can do. Rangers, Abia Warriors. That's another tricky fixture. I remember 2 seasons ago, if there's any team I'm talking about that can just play your offensive football, shock you, then it's Abia Warriors. But I haven't watched them a lot this season, but I see that they are doing just enough to avoid the drop. When they take on Enugu Rangers, it might just be a different ball game entirely, because on a good day, Abia Warriors will hurt you when you least expect. Aqua United will try to get their season back on track and see how they can leave that relegation zone. But it's going to be difficult with Niger Tornadoes, a team that can actually stun you also when you least expect. But I want to see what Shooting Stars can do against Lobby. Because if you go to Kano Pillars and you win impressively. You give us a 9-minute goal, stun the crowd right there, 2-1, against Lobby Stars that can be very, very tricky. Particularly, remember I always say one thing about Lobby, they know how to win when they have to, and get points when they need to stay relevant. So Shooting Stars must be wary of this sort of game. But if Shooting Stars wins this one, they might likely just go into the top 4. Can you believe it? The Oluyole Warriors, who would have thought when we're beginning the second stanza that Shooting Stars will be this impressive? I think 2 or 3 away wins already this stanza. And if they beat Lobby Stars tomorrow, they will definitely put some icing on the cake for their league season to say, okay, guys, now we want to start celebrating. And you never know where you can take it from there. We'll pause, come back. Dotun will tell us what he's looking forward to Sports Tonight on Channels Television. Let's go on this quick break. When we come back, more NPFL. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back, Sports Tonight on Channels Television. We're previewing match day 30 of the Nigeria Premier Football League. What a story. We've seen some stunning results this season. We've seen away wins. Small teams have traveled to the grounds of established teams and got us talking. Yes, Doma United went to Aqua United and got the results. Aqua United, not a small team though, but when they needed to win against Kano Pillars, they went to Kano and they also picked points. Shooting Stars said, Aqua United, let's watch how you did that 2-1 win. They watched it also, went to Kano and also won 2-1. Let me pick Dotun's brain a bit. Dotun, are we going to get any away win on match day 30, looking at the fixtures?
If you take a vivid look at the fixtures before us, you definitely say that to get that this weekend is really going to be pretty difficult, owing to the fact that the teams at home are actually going to be doing everything possible to make sure they nick victory. If you take a look at Gombe United against Kwara United, you know what is at hand for Gombe United. They are actually first from behind. Let me just say it like that. And Rivers United is not really actually going to be easy for Plateau United traveling down to Rivers. And for 3SC, you know, they've been doing wonderfully well in the Nigerian Premier League this season so far. But for Lobby Stars, who is actually fighting tooth and nail to win the Nigerian Premier League, it will be actually a bit difficult for this for Lobby Stars against 3SC. And Sporting Lagos are welcoming Sunshine Stars to Lagos. For Sunshine Stars, they've been neither here nor there so far this season, owing to the fact that they've not been picking points nor victories on the road. About coming to Lagos against Sporting Lagos, who is actually doing everything possible to remain in the Nigerian Premier League so that they can actually cement a place to become one among the elite team when it comes to Nigerian League. They will actually really going to be difficult for them. But for the Oriental Derby, like you said the other time, if you look at these two teams, you're actually going to say that you can't say Yimba will win automatically or no, Atlant Football Club will win automatically. If you look at the start in between these two teams and the last 5 games between them, Atlant Football Club have managed 2 victories and Yimba have gotten 1, and 2 draws actually emerged from this fixture. So it's really going to be a bit difficult for Yimba, though they'll be at home playing host to the visiting team, talking about Atlant. But despite the fact that Atlant, they are actually a second from behind, struggling seriously. But when it comes to Oriental Derby, you expect that they are going to come with their A games, give a good fight against Eyimba International. But I believe that Eyimba knows what is at stake. They want to qualify for the continent, also want to win the league. So they must actually keep picking points or winning at home, so they make sure they actually get the needed points or needed wins to qualify for the continent or win the league as well. That is what I think concerning the league this weekend.
All right, that's interesting, and we'll come back to talk about these things next week. And I think I agree with Dr. It might be difficult, especially when we're now at the business end, for us to be seeing some of those away victories. But of course, we'll talk about it if it happens. Let's see what happens. All right, let's move on now. Let's travel outside of the shores of Nigeria to where Austin is based right now. The English Premier League is our next port of call. We're going to be looking at the matches that will be played over the weekend. We're going to listen to the managers in a bit. But first, let's take a look at the fixtures. That's what we're going to do now, taking a look at the fixtures. I'm going to go across and, of course, reel out those fixtures. Interesting. There you have it. on your screen. Newcastle United up against Tottenham. Brentford up against Sheffield United. Burnley up against Brighton. Manchester City up against Luton Town. I'll allow Austin comment about Rodri later on. The guy says, look, I need to rest. I need to rest. So we'll talk about Rodri. He's been involved in everything good about Manchester City, and he has not played in a game that City has lost this season. So Nottingham Forest will be up against Wolverhampton Wanderers. Bournemouth will be up against Manchester United. Manchester United. I think he's going to be the first manager that we're going to be listening to tonight. Liverpool, from what happened during the week, it was catastrophic. They'll be up against Crystal Palace. West Ham up against Fulham. Arsenal up against Aston Villa. All right, these are the things, the matches to be played. All right, and on Monday as well, this one, well, they are all Blues, but one is more known as the team they refer to. So Chelsea up against Everton. I mean, not much to in terms of their fortunes of late. Not much of a difference. Everton struggling, battling against relegation. Of course, Chelsea just trying to keep their head above water. But the first manager we want to quickly listen to is the Manchester United manager. A lot of people have said he's been given excuses. We need you to make up your mind. You listen to him now. Erik ten Hag talking about all the issues they've had to deal with. We'll listen to him. We'll come back from On Sports Tonight.
So we were always happy with Harry Maguire, but yeah, he wants to play, and he's a great leader. He's a very good defender. So very comfortable on the ball, yeah. And when I count all those abilities, yeah, just now when we are in our defending line, we have our problems, yeah. Then he's even more important to lead that line, to make us play from the back. Yeah, so we are very pleased he's there. And we need him to get our results and to achieve our targets. But then still we have to win, and we know that. And so then others has to take the responsibility. But when you oversee it, then you know also, yeah, it has a negative impact.
All right. Erik ten Hag, as I take my seat, Dotu, we've laughed when we listen to him. First, I want to ask you if you think Erik ten Hag believes himself. One, and do you think he deserves another season? I want you to do that in a minute as we yield to Austin. He says quite a few things. Now Harry Maguire is a world-class player, is a good player. Does he really believe that, or he has to say that to us?
You know, sometimes as a manager, you need to protect your players in the media, because if you don't do that, they will help you drag your players.
You wanted to ship out.
Yeah, of course.
Nice.
But if you still now actually take a look at it, like you said the other time, that maybe he doesn't understand what he's saying. But as a manager, I don't want to say he doesn't believe in himself, but I just want to say that maybe he doesn't know or have the requirements to actually be a top-class manager, managing a team like Manchester United. But when it comes to what he believes in, his football philosophy or what have you, he has it. He was a success with Ajax. He did wonderfully well. Coming to a team like Manchester, a traditional team that has a lot of pedigree, antecedents, successes over the years. You can actually not compare them to Ajax football. They have their own way of managing football. Remember, Manchester United is a team who wants to win at all times. But Ajax is a team who wants to do the business. They also want to win. They also want to do the business. They keep selling players season in, season out, making more money than even many clubs in the European continent. And if you look at it now, saying Harry Maguire is a world class, who was actually, he almost left the club. He almost left the club. I would say that he's not, I would not say he's an error. Maybe what he's seeing in him now, he never saw it initially. Okay. So that would be my submission. But talking about giving him extra season, if I'd been the owner of the club, by now he would have been out.
Wow. I don't know if Austin agrees. I mean, what was the word on the street in the rumor mill? Do you think he's going to get another year?
I think he will get another year. I think some way, somehow, if he tries, and then City, Manchester United finishes, let's say in the top 8, I think he will get another year because, as Ten Hag said to us before, we didn't just listen. I mean, his assignment was beyond just come play football and win. They're using him to correct a lot of the excesses that was at Manchester United before he arrived. He tried to explain it, and he said he's been told to change the culture. Remember when he told us that? He struggled to explain it. Cristiano Ronaldo was part of that, and he took Cristiano Ronaldo out. They also need to eat the humble pie of how they let go of David De Gea, who a lot of people thought could still give a year or two to the club and all of that. So he's a struggling coach, and I like his statement he made. Ten Hag has really studied the art of, granting press conferences. He said that Manchester United are losing from a winning position. I don't understand what he means by that, but definitely Manchester United has been struggling. I like Maguire and the progress he has made as a player. People don't say it these days until he makes one mistake and everyone will start coming for him. So, yeah, the manager was right to big him up big time. But let's see what Manchester United can do against a difficult Bournemouth. Because remember, Bournemouth humiliated them at Old Trafford. So they must go away now and show that they've got good character, that they can bounce back and get their season back on track. Let's go to the other side of Manchester and talk about Manchester City. You talked about Rodri, and what a story, what a season Rodri is having for Manchester City. And Pep Guardiola said, if a player doesn't want to play, I'll put him on the bench. He didn't say he wants to. He hinted that he would like to rest because Rodri brings some level of mental balance to this team. He doesn't just run anyhow. He's always looking out for the team. He's always covering the spaces. And when I watched the way he played against Real Madrid, I said, this guy is a fantastic utility player. And no wonder he hasn't lost a game that he has played for City this season. I'll tell you an interesting fact. After the game against Real Madrid, it made it 429 days and 66 games. 429 days and 66 games since Rodri lost a game playing for Manchester City. The only time he's been out was when he was on suspension for 4 games. And guys, you know what? Manchester City lost all of those 4 domestic matches. That tells you the importance, the balance that Rodri brings into this team. Anyway, they don't have any problem. Well, if you look at it that way, because it's Manchester City, they'll take on Luton. But Luton is fighting for survival to stay in the league. So they might just shock Manchester City. But Pep Guardiola is saying, look, the team looks a bit jaded, but they should get the job done against Luton. Let's listen to Pep on the show tonight.
I had the feeling that the games is tired, like Crystal Palace and Madrid. The second half was better than the first half and ran more and was more precise in the second half than the first. It depends on the team. But more the physicality is a question, of course, spend mental energy, playing every 3 days. Of course, it's tired, play a lot of minutes, really so important for us. And we'll decide tomorrow what we have to do. Premier League is so important, and I expect a game more similar that what happened in the Premier League when we won 2-1 at the end than the FA Cup, and we have to be ready. So it's 11 months, a month fighting for the title. Yeah. We know the position that we are, that we cannot drop points.
Yeah, so I don't think it's a problem, Yemi and Dotun, but we know Pep and how he comes out, respects his team, and I think that's a good game for him to rest Rodri, Dotun. What do you think?
Of course, I'm thinking like that it is an opportunity, or it is opportunity for Pep Guardiola to actually decide to shuttle his team, talking about giving rest to certain players in the team, owing to the fact that they will be playing against a struggling side, talking about Luton Town. Though Luton Town, they are doing everything possible to make sure they remain in the league, owing to the fact that they want to actually keep enjoying the atmosphere, the money, and the what have you. But if you look at it very well, Rodri needs to go to the bench to actually take rest, even not being on the... He doesn't need to be on the bench. Exclude him from these particular games, and you still have many games after this particular. They will be playing Real Madrid come Wednesday rather. They will be playing against some other teams, even teams like Tottenham and Aston Villa. They played Aston Villa. They still play strong games, and they don't want to win the league. They want to win the Champions League. And if you want to do this, you need to make sure that your big players, super players, are fit for these particular games, for all these games. For Rodri, he has been wonderful. Each time I set my eyes on him, I see that he put up a very good shows. Like you said the other time, the mental balance, the physicality, the stillness, the movement of ball. He actually plays. I was telling a friend that I watch this guy vividly. I see his movement off the ball, towards the ball, and with the ball are all perfect. So when he's on the field, the team is doing well. But during this weekend, I think they don't have much to play for. So they can actually give him that opportunity to sit out and not see the game at all.
All right. So we'll see what Pep Guardiola decides to do once Rodri has hinted that, look, he might need some rest. Let's listen to another manager now, Eddie Howe, the Newcastle manager, talking about expectations. I mean, the load has been heavy, playing in the Champions League, trying to gain entry back into the Champions League with other teams, you know, of course, wanting what you already have. So he's had to deal with a lot. Let's listen to the Newcastle manager, Eddie Howe, talk about the expectations at St. James's Park. We'll come back for more.
We were devastating in attack. We were ruthless with the chances we had, we took, and it was one of those days that you get, as you say, rarely in football, but everything went our way, and yeah, it was a memorable game and a memorable opening part of the match. I think this is a totally different Tottenham team now. I think you know, they've played very well this year. Watched them a lot. I admire them tactically. I admire them physically. I think they've done very well, and I think Ange deserves big credit for how his philosophy has been implemented, in the speed that it has, and just generally how they've played.
All right, so Eddie Howe speaking ahead of the game against Tottenham. They are, you know, eyeing that Champions League spot. All right, and of course, another man who's been speaking, and I'm very sure Austin will take us through that, Mikel Arteta as well has been speaking. He's preparing his team for the crucial game against, of course, Aston Villa, and he's telling his boys to forget what happened against Bayern Munich.
Play parts of the. I keep saying it, that the disruption that we'll see in the Premier League is the outcomes that will come out of whatever involvement they have in Europe. Look at Liverpool, for instance. We're talking about it yesterday. Who would have thought that they would be humiliated that way by Atalanta? And there is no way they will tell me that it will not affect them mentally. But Mikel Arteta has got a point, you know. They are executing matches properly. Look at the way they took out Brighton. Last season, that probably would have been difficult. 2 seasons ago, it would have been difficult. They went away. They won by 3-0. Mikel Arteta is saying, keep the momentum going. Aston Villa is difficult. We know the kind of way Arsenal lost that game at Villa Park. Now it's payback time. Let's see what the Gunners can do. Mikel Arteta has been reacting.
About in Emery's side?
Well, what they've done, obviously, since Unai come in, he's made a huge impact at the club in terms of performances, and consistently unbelievable what they are doing. They're still in European competition that they played last night, so really impressed with what they've done. We will know the results. We still have our duty to win our game, which is the only thing that we can control. That happened a few times already. It's going to happen again the next few weeks. It's just focus on what we can do, what we can control, and make sure that we performed like we have to do against a really good side to try to beat them. Yeah, it's really good, and we want to carry on going. It's the most beautiful part of the season coming up right now. Very busy schedule, and on Sunday we're going to have a really tough one against a really good side, and we're going to have to be really good to beat them.
I totally agree. The Gunners need to be really good to beat Aston Villa, because that's a team that can handle big teams on a good day. And it's the unbelievable Unai Emery, Dotun, returning to the Emirates Stadium. And he says it, and we don't listen. He says he knows how to beat Arsenal. And I think he has shown it over the years.
Of course, if you take a look at Unai Emery up against Arsenal, he has done that over and over at Villarreal. He did that. He came to Aston Villa. he also did that. But if you take a look at how Arsenal is playing in recent time, you definitely disagree with Unai Emery saying that he understands or knows how to beat Arsenal. If you look at Arsenal, the way they've been executing games after games, you actually, maybe they've understand, or maybe they actually have the key to unlock almost all the teams they are playing. Look at what they did against Manchester City in the last 2 Premier League games. They limited Manchester City to 2 shots on target all through the 90 minutes. And up against Bayern Munich, though during the start of the game, it's a bit shaky for them. And they actually came up with their A game. And they actually, from losing position to make sure they played out a 2-all draw. And coming into this game against Aston Villa, last season, remember that 9 minutes shot from Jorginho that actually gave them the 3-2 lead before they actually secured the 4-2 win against same Aston Villa. Though this season, the reverse fixture ended in favor of Aston Villa by lone goal. But I think with what they are doing recently, because they are looking at the title in front of them, and they think if they can keep the high-pressing game on and keep winning, the title is theirs to win. So I think it will be difficult for Aston Villa going to Emirates Stadium to play against Arsenal. But for what they've been doing, they can actually do the unthinkable when they get down there, talking about Aston Villa.
Honestly, I don't, football has, I wanted to say something. I learned I shouldn't say what I wanted to say. Football teaches us lessons most of the time, but I'd wanted to say that it's going to be very difficult to, with the way Arsenal are playing, I agree with you, to imagine that Aston Villa have a lot of injuries to deal with. That's a major.
Even their best player at the middle of the park will not be playing that game. Talking about Douglas Luiz. He's out due to suspension.
Jacob Ramsey is injured. A couple of other players. Kamara is out. So I'm trying to see what they can. Even Oli Watkins, the main striker for the team, says, "Look, we don't have big team mentality." He said it when City just took them out easily. And I'm not saying because City took them out easily, but I'm just saying it might be a bit difficult. But it can happen.
Of course.
It has to be said. It can happen, So we'll see what happens. I guess we'll see what happens in that one. And our last part of call will be to talk about the man of the hour, of course, Alonso, the coach, Xabi Alonso, the coach of Bayer Leverkusen. I mean, you just have to doff your hat for him. The way he's going, they're keeping an unbeaten run. And he's still in line for a double. And what's in it for Nigeria? We have a couple of guys there. So a Leverkusen triumph will be celebrated in these parts, Austin.
Yes, it should be, and the way Xabi Alonso is going about this Leverkusen thing, it's so shocking and a clear reminder that we should never write off anyone. For instance, West Ham were thinking they were going to get away with a draw. Remember, I was giving live commentary on the show, and then he made that masterpiece of substitution, brought in Jonas Hoffmann. 3 minutes later, Jonas Hoffmann was scoring, brought in Victor Boniface, who has been on the sidelines due to injury for a long time, and 5 minutes later, Victor Boniface was scoring. Fantastic masterstroke of a coach that he just looked at both of them and said, go in and then be the difference. And that's what happened. Boom, 2-0. Bayer Leverkusen winning that one. And with this now, West Ham, they know it's going to be very difficult for them in the second leg. This guy is still in about 2 cup competitions in Germany. Is now looking good to get into the semis of the Europa League. And only the heavens can stop him from winning the Bundesliga title. What a season for Xabi Alonso and Bayer Leverkusen. I would have loved us to still go on and on and on and talk about this, but we got to go because it's time. But Xabi Alonso, take a bow for everything you've done this season. That's the show in London. I'm Austin Okonakman. In everything you do, remember to keep talking sports. Bye for now.
All right, before I say bye-bye, Dr. Nkube, I want to thank you for your time on the show today.
Thanks as well. But let me just say this about Alonso. He's a wonderful coach.
All right. I agree. Everyone agrees. All right, that's the show today. It's the last one for the week. You'll see us again next week. I'm Yemi Adebayo. Bye-bye now.